This was sponsored by the Our American Stories podcast. Breaking news out of the NFL. The Jets have traded back. The reunion with former quarterback GENO Smith was their first round pick and then kind of hopped around the league. Also, former Packers wide receiver Romeo Doubs reached an agreement today on a 4-year contract with the Patriots worth about $70 million. Lake Show back tonight, taking on the Timberwolves at Crypto. That game will be at 8 o'clock right here on San Diego Sports 760. Minnesota is a slight favorite at 2.5 points. On the next Our American Stories podcast, they'll tell the tale of family affairs star Brian Key's service and sacrifice. You won't want to miss the next episode of Our American Stories.
Welcome to the Fletch Zone.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Not like other guys.
Sound off like you got a pair.
The frenzy continues in the NFL. The U.S. does it again at the World Baseball Classic. Brian Dutcher and the Aztecs continue to get ready for the Mountain West Tournament.
And we will start from the beginning.
Give me Santa Clara plus 4.5 against St. Mary's in the WCC.
That's how it starts.
Give me the Knicks minus 2.5 against the Clippers.
You always have such horrible ideas.
And then give me the Nuggets plus 6.5, taking on the Thunder in Oklahoma City.
You figured it out, didn't you? You cracked the code.
Now we go to the San Diego Sports 760 studios to get into the Fletch Zone.
Yeah, let's get it going on a Tuesday. What's going on, everybody? Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John Schaefer and Sammy Long will take over then. You're filling in for Brent today?
Yeah, you will hear my voice for the next 6 hours, ladies and gentlemen.
I just got out of a meeting, Sammy. We didn't want to advertise that. We didn't want the next 6 hours to, get hurt by the fact that you're going to hear Sammy for the next 6 hours.
Listen, some people may like that. Some people may not. But you know what? You're going to have to deal with it.
But yeah, John is going to be doing his show today with Sammy Long running the board, not the mastery of Brent Sperry. So please forgive any problems that happen from 2 to 6 today.
I've learned from my protege, Brent.
We got a big show today. Kevin Acee is going to be joining us coming up at 12:30. We may have a surprise guest later in the 1 o'clock hour in studio. We'll see if the stars align on that. We have a 4-pack of tickets for you to go to the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, get up close and personal with the brand new Elephant Valley, where I will actually be tomorrow morning. We're doing Big Rich, TD, and Fletch live from Elephant Valley, doing a morning show with an elephant as our co-host. Can't wait for that. But it is San Diego Sports 760. We'll talk some Aztecs today. We'll talk a lot of Padres today with Kev. We are going to start with the NFL because that has taken over the world over the last 24 to 48 hours with free agency opening up, the legal tampering window opening up. And I just want to start off by saying this. Sammy, you had it in your update. GENO Smith returns after being drafted by the New York Jets to the New York Jets. GENO Smith was a journeyman. He was a bust. He was long forgotten about. Popped up in Seattle, played pretty well for a couple of years. I would say kind of guided the Seattle Seahawks through not a rebuild, but a retool. And guess what? The Seahawks are better off because of it. They ended up in the Super Bowl. They ended up winning the Super Bowl this past season. And I don't think they can do that without GENO Smith keeping them in the conversation and having them avoid a total rebuild while he was there. GENO Smith goes to the Raiders, is colossally awful and terrible with the Raiders and gets them the number 1 overall pick. So GENO Smith, wildly powerful man in the world of football. But I will say this for the New York Jets. What the hell are you doing? Because the New York Jets, in their same building, in their same stadium, can look at the locker room of the other team that plays there, the New York Giants, and see young quarterback, young running back, young wide receiver, young defensive line, who all have a lot of promise. And I think for the first time since Eli Manning was there, people are excited about the future of the New York Giants. So what do the Jets do? They bring in GENO Smith to be the quarterback next year, pretty much ensuring that they're going to do a little bit of a rebuild themselves, pretty much ensuring that the Jets are going to have a high draft pick next year. But how can you not get a little more creative than GENO Smith? This seems like such a miss to me for the New York Jets. I can't believe this is where they decided to go. They gave up, a 7th round pick to get him? I don't really understand what's going on with GENO Smith and the Jets, but congratulations. You got your QB1.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Please.
I think GENO Smith, although everything you said is valid, and are the Jets going to be terrible this year? 1,000,000%.
How does the Jets fan base feel about this? Like they're neighbors with the Giants fan base.
I think if I'm a Jets fan, and please text us 70470, start your message with team if you happen to bleed green. But if I'm the Jets, you're used to sucking for years. And my thing is this, although it's going to be a difficult season in New York, and yes, to your point about the Giants being there and the Giants kind of being a sexy sleeper pick team this year, could have some success. John Harbaugh, there's a lot of success or a lot of excitement around the New York Giants. It's going to hurt when they're outshining the Jets once again in their home city. But if you're the Jets, signing it, obviously they're not signing Aaron Rodgers. They used to have him. Kyler Murray, Tua, one of these guys that will win you enough games. GENO Smith, they're basically pulling an NBA tank job. This is what this is. Next year, Arch Manning out of Texas figures to be in the conversation for the number 1 pick. Dante Moore out of Oregon, Lenoris Sellers out of South Carolina, and Mayava from USC. You're going to have your pick of the litter at quarterback next year. And as we've seen in this league, if you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to win. It's not going to happen. You can have the best roster there is. If you don't have a big time quarterback, you're not going to win in big moments. And although, yeah, if I'm a Jets fan today and I got to watch a season of GENO Smith, am I too thrilled? No. But at the same time, if the Jets are sitting here with the number 1 pick next year with the ability and supposedly a stacked quarterback class, that's the better move than winning 6 games with Kyler Murray or a team or someone or Malik Willis had they signed him. And then yet you're not picking at the top of the draft, but you're still not a successful team.
Right. But you probably could have done that without GENO Smith. This is just admitting full circle you were wrong all those years ago, and you're probably wrong once again here today. I don't fully understand the move. I think GENO Smith could have gone to a lot of places, and it would have made more sense. He could have gone and been a backup somewhere and actually would have been probably qualified as one of the better backups in football. But for this to come down today, I don't really get it from the Jets' point of view. And I do think you're sending a pretty bad message to your fan base who, like Sammy said, you're used to sucking, New York Jets fans. And I'm sorry, but it's going to happen once again here. And it's going to happen with a quarterback that at one point you staked your future on. That's just got to be a tough pill to swallow. All right, it is San Diego Sports 760. Those Elephant Valley tickets are coming up in just a little bit. How about this from the 858 texting into the show early? Thanks again for the BNP Paribas tickets. Got to see Novak play singles and doubles, Tiafoe play doubles and singles, and Alcaraz and Medvedev all play. Fritz blew my parlay, but I made bank off the rinky upset. We getting some ATP on long shots today, Sammy.
First off, beautiful text.
That is a great text.
I have been locked in the Paribas. There will be some Paribas Opens and tennis talk.
Do you pronounce the S? I thought it was just BNP Paribas.
It's Paribas. Yeah, there's no S. You're right. There's no S.
There is an S. I just don't think you pronounce it. I think it's just Paribas.
There will be some. We're gonna have some NBA, a little college basketball, and a little Paribas Open.
Before we get to the big three, do you want to let everybody know about long shots? You were very animated about this before the show.
Okay, so
this is back-to-back games that the Knicks screwed it up.
The Knicks. Very frustrating because if you followed along with long shots yesterday, the Nuggets lost but kept it close. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander hit a big time 3 last night.
Over the weekend, you had the Knicks Lakers going under, and it went over.
And then Santa Clara called the money line upset over St. Mary's.
Maybe your best pick ever on long shots.
I was very impressed with that. Santa Clara is playing really good basketball right now. Got a fun matchup against the Zags tonight. Gonzaga, see if they can win the WCC. And those damn Knicks. I mean, I'm sorry. I thought you would have a little heart coming off the Lakers kind of pounding you on Sunday. And to let the Clippers and Benedict Mathurin and Kawhi Leonard and Darius Garland do whatever the hell they wanted to last night on primetime, embarrassing from the Knicks. And the Knicks are on Sammy's hit list right now.
Blacklist.
They're
done. Never including the Knicks on another long shots ever again. Who do they join? Nembhard.
And Nembhard.
Carl Anthony
Towns already there.
Yeah.
Carl Anthony Towns has already been there.
I think we need to put Carlos Alcaraz on it.
No.
I don't think you've ever won a lineup that had Carlos Alcaraz on it.
Carlos at the French Open had some success for us. Carlos is not on the list yet.
I don't know. All right, well, we'll get to the big three. Long shots coming up at 12:45. Stay tuned for that. That 4-pack of tickets to the Elephant Valley. Excited to give those away. Those have been hot tickets all week long. Sammy, let's get to the big three. Go ahead. Smash it.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends?
I mean, coworkers.
It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
Text line is open 70470. Start your message with team. YouTube, I believe, is live. Are we live on YouTube? Yes, we are. Download YouTube app, whatever, on your smart fridge or wherever you want to watch us and search San Diego Sports 760. Drop a comment there. We'd love to hear from you on all our different platforms. Sammy, where would you like to start?
Tua Tagovailoa broke at the end of our show yesterday, heading to Atlanta and figures to compete with Michael Penix Jr. for the starting job. A, do you like the move? And 2, will Tua be the starter on opening day?
Logistically, I like the move because you don't have to change everything around because it's left-handed quarterback to left-handed quarterback. Whoever wins the battle to be the starter, whoever loses the battle to become the backup, things become a little bit easier. I hate the move because of this and this only. What is that telling Michael Penix? And maybe the Falcons don't think a whole lot about Michael Penix, and Kevin Stefanski didn't draft him, so Kevin Stefanski's coming in with a brand new slate. He might want multiple options at the quarterback position heading into the year. But Michael Penix is coming off a season that I would not qualify as good with some promising moments. I think that's as nice as you could be about Michael Penix. But I do think with the athleticism that he has, with the arm that he has, Michael Penix has what it takes to be an NFL quarterback. All this is doing is playing mind games with Michael Penix now, even if it's inadvertent. Even if Kevin Stefanski said, I want to make sure that we get somebody who has started a lot of football games in here just in case he needs to be the starter and Michael Penix doesn't have what it takes. You could have done that with the guy who was already in your building, Kirk Cousins, the guy who Michael Penix was already comfortable with. I don't see Tua as much of an upgrade over Kirk Cousins. I really don't. So unless you are convinced that Tua could come in and take the starting job, which he very well may be able to do, I don't love this move at all for the Falcons. I think this is causing unnecessary issues with Michael Penix.
I don't understand this because the only quarterback I could have seen you bringing in was Kyler Murray.
Right, to be a starter.
And Kyler Murray would have been like, listen, if Kyler beats him out in camp, it's Kyler's job. Because I think Kyler's the only guy that coming into free agency, I'll take Malik Willis out of it because we'll get to him a little bit later. I actually don't hate that signing. But Kyler Murray was the only guy who has been in the league for a while, who's been a starter that, in my opinion, could have a second act to their career. Because Kyler Murray, although the Cardinals, some of it's his fault. They couldn't always outfit him with the best, weapons around him. And with the Cardinals, it just feels like that team was, a little lost for some times now. And now he's going. If he was to go to Atlanta, you're talking about Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts. I mean, you got weapons everywhere. I think Kyler Murray could have had a big resurrection. But to go from Penix to Tua, just feels like you're getting a more injury-prone version of Michael Penix with a smaller arm. I genuinely don't understand it. And now you're going to have a whole conversation all offseason about who's the quarterback in Atlanta. This felt like a rush move to me, and I don't get it if I'm Kevin Stefanski. I thought it was way too much of an overpay for that.
All right, who next?
All right, if the Aztecs win 3 straight, let's just live in a fantasy land. So they do. So they win 3 straight and make March Madness. Will this be looked at as a successful season?
That's a really good question. I don't think I've given myself time to really think about that. I can absolutely see them winning 3 straight. I could see pretty much anybody in the Mountain West tournament winning 3 straight once we get to the quarterfinal round. I would say yes, actually, because this team has had to go through quite a bit of adversity. Obviously, Magoon Guath hasn't had the season you thought he'd have. That's the reigning Mountain West Freshman of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. If he played the season last year that he played this year, he would not have gotten either of those awards. Even when he was healthy, Magoon Guath hasn't had the same impact that he had a year ago, and you were expecting a pretty big jump from him. I think Miles Byrd, largely for the most part, stayed the same. He had some flashes this year where he was clearly the best player on the court, but he was the preseason Mountain West Player of the Year. He hasn't nearly lived up to what that should be. Reese Dixon Waters, I think, has given you everything he possibly could. Coming off a year where he didn't play basketball, I think Reese has had a good season, not great. BJ Davis has blown you out of the water with the expectations for him coming into this year. However, I don't think anything ever gelled the way we thought it would with this team, where there's a ton of talent on it, but nothing is gelled all the way. If this team can overcome what they've gone through this year and get into March Madness, I kind of think you have to qualify that as a win and a successful season. Now, the Sweet 16 talk that was happening in the offseason, I think we all found out pretty early on that probably wasn't going to be this team. That's not to say it still can't be, right? That's why March is kind of special. So if they go on a little bit of a run here, yeah, it's a success.
It's tough. I think anything short of them making March Madness is definitely cannot be categorized as a successful season. If they make it and they lose in the first round, I'm not going to sit here and say it's a successful season. I think they will have ended at least on the right track and that they kind of turned it around and made up a little bit for such a sluggish start to the year with the first few weeks and that week out in Vegas, the loss to Troy, the week before that.
By the way, Troy's in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like,
goodness gracious.
No, I think a successful season for the Aztecs as of right now is they make the tournament and they win a game. If they do that, considering how they started this season, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, even though you're going out in the round of 32. They dealt with a lot of injuries this year. They were able to kind of rally. They finally had the whole team back together the last couple of weeks of the season and got there. But you have to make March Madness. If they don't make March Madness, I'm sorry, with the amount of talent they have on this team, because Miles Bird was getting looked at for the NBA. Lagoon Guath was Michigan, one of the best teams in the country, was offering him a huge NIL deal. I mean, there were a lot of these players were really sought after, Reese Dixon Waters, and to not make the tournament with this talented of a roster certainly cannot be a successul season, but they get a week to change that.
I would agree, and I think Dutch would say the exact same thing.
Yeah,
and I also think a lot depends on how it all happens, right? Like,
Right.
you could have an absolute barn burner of a game against Grand Canyon in the final of the Mountain West tournament that doesn't go your way at the end, and that stinks, but it's not good enough, right? Because you didn't get to the NCAA tournament. If you get to the first round and San Diego State plays an incredible game against a team where obviously they'll be dogged because they're going to be playing a favorite if they do get to the NCAA tournament, and they play an awesome game and it comes down to the final whistle and they lose by 2, I'd have a hard time not calling it a successful season.
It is tricky, but I think it's a good thing that the expectations are high.
Sure, absolutely.
Like that
And
shows
this program has grown. Is just since
Right.
the time I've lived in San Diego, it is a completely different situation going into every Aztecs basketball season than it was.
Right. I remember when I first kind of similar time moved to San Diego, I remember if the Aztecs made the tournament, it was a really big deal. And
Right.
now that's the standard. That's the baseline, which is a good thing. And people need to look at it like that. All right, let's head to the WBC now. So the U.S. get a win yesterday over Mexico.
Drama.
Good game. Did you see this Randy Arozarena thing after?
Yeah, dude.
Okay, so for those who haven't seen this, little backstory: Randy Arozarena and Cal Raleigh obviously played together on the Seattle Mariners. Cal Raleigh did not give Randy Arozarena a handshake after the game.
Do you know this is actually like 4 years old now? Because the same thing happened with Randy Arozarena and Will Smith
Oh, really?
at the WBC. And Will Smith did not give him a handshake when they were at the plate.
So Arozarena in Spanish said about Raleigh, quote, he has to thank God that he has nice parents and is well educated. Then he told him in Mexican slang, apparently, he should, quote, F off and go to hell. This is his teammate. This is who he has to go report to a week from now about Cal Raleigh kind of spurning him at the plate and not giving him a handshake. Where do you fall on the Randy Arozarena Cal Raleigh beef?
So we have learned through a day of reporting now, Randy Arozarena is a little bit of a jokester, and some of these comments may have been a little tongue-in-cheek, and I think that part of it is like Randy Arozarena is close with Cal Raleigh's family. His mom came up to him at the hotel, gave him a big hug, talked about how proud they were of him. I do think, because Randy Arozarena said, I'm going to tell him in 4 different languages, and then he ripped off Cuban, Spanish, English, and one other language, basically to go F himself and shove it. There's a 60% chance he was joking, which I think is where people are kind of landing on it now. If he wasn't, I kind of love this from both sides. Like, I get Cal Raleigh's point of view. He's like, dude, yeah, we are teammates with the Mariners, and I'll love you and respect you when we're there. But right now, like, Benji Gill said some pretty bad stuff about Team USA. Team USA and Team Mexico is supposed to be one of the bigger rivalries in this entire World Baseball Classic. This is a close game, by the way, and there's no guarantee that either way is going to win. Sometimes you got to nut up or shut up, man. I think that's what Cal Raleigh did. I'll tell you, I hate it in baseball. And Eric Hosmer used to be the worst at this. Standing on first base, and all of a sudden you're having a conversation and smiling with the guy on first base on the other team? Screw that.
It's hurt baseball. It's hurt basketball. It's basically hurt every sport besides football.
I hated Fernando Tatis Jr. going on Mookie Betts' podcast.
Right. It's football, because of the physicality of the sport, creates anger and aggression because someone gets hit too hard, and then all of a sudden, it is a violent sport inherently. Baseball, there's so much standing around, and basketball has become a lot more finesse to where guys are working out in the offseason together and they're friends. And I'm not saying that guys shouldn't be friends or chop it up with people, but Dodger and Padre fans hate each other. And right when you see Tatis and Mookie just kicking it like they're best friends
in the middle of a series,
in the middle of a series, you start to go, okay, it's odd. When you see guys in the NBA exchanging jerseys after heated Celtics Lakers, one of the most iconic rivalries in sports, and everyone's exchanging jerseys after, it kind of sets an odd precedent. I'll take you back before we get out of here to the Olympics with Kobe. Everyone tells that story. Kobe and Powell played together.
Ran through his chest.
He said, I know the play they're going to run, and I'm running right through his chest. And Bosh and LeBron, everyone was like, you're not going to do that. That's your teammate. Puts him on the ground, says, F him, get up. We don't play on the same team right now. Relating this back to WBC, I love it from Cal Raleigh. They're not teammates. They're not teammates right now. They'll be teammates in 2 weeks. Right now, you play for USA, you play for Mexico. I like that there's a little drama to this, and that has sold a little bit of the WBC for me. Is that you get this, the Scooble story. There's been a lot back and forth.
Last night was the first time I got invested in the WBC,
and it felt like the teams really did not like each other, and that's fun.
And
that's
the plays
fun.
Bobby Witt Jr. was making at shortstop, my God.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
He had 2 in a row last night that were like show-stopping plays. I don't know that there's a better shortstop right now defensively in the league. All right, good stuff there, Sammy. Big 3 in the books. San Diego Sports 760. Those Elephant Valley tickets are coming up very soon. Kevin Acee coming up in 10 minutes. We'll take a quick break and get a little bit deeper on those Aztecs coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. We're going to be joined by Kevin Acee here, the Ace Man, our Padres insider, coming up in about 5 minutes. We'll talk some Padres with Kev. He's got a new article out about Joe Musgrove getting some extra rest. I heard you and John Schaefer yesterday, Sammy, talking about Nick Pivetta in that so cautious arm fatigue.
Nicky P.
Arm fatigue.
What are the Padres doing? Why every year, right before the season, there has to be arm fatigue with somebody?
Arm fatigue. Watch out, everybody. If we've learned anything, arm fatigue is basically nuclear bomb. It's not good.
ACL surgery.
Yeah, so we'll talk to Kev about what all that means and see if we could read between the lines a little bit with what he lets us know. But Joe Musgrove getting some extra rest, I do think that is actually to be expected, and no arm fatigue mentions in there. It is quite literally extra rest because he's coming back off of missing a year due to Tommy John. So we'll get into all that with Kev coming up in just a little bit here on San Diego Sports 760. But we all have homework tomorrow night. And I think the homework is to sit down and watch closely to the Colorado State-Fresno State game, because whoever wins that game is going to be moving on to face the Aztecs. And I do think San Diego State has an opportunity here to sort of wipe away a lot of what was on the dry erase marker from this season. We could talk all we want about the Troy loss. It's in the past now. We could talk all we want about Michigan and Baylor in Vegas, but it's all in the past now. We can talk all we want about BJ Davis and the phantom foul call at Grand Canyon at Utah State.
No, it was at Grand Canyon.
Okay. No, I think the phantom foul was at Utah State, and I think San Diego State got fouled at Grand Canyon. I can't remember. There were lots of last second calls this year that went against the Aztecs. And if we want to talk about it, the Boise State triple overtime game, there was a lot of calls that went the Aztecs' way. But we could talk about all of that. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. What does matter is the next 3 games for San Diego State. And if they go 3-0, they could be right back in the position we thought they were going to be in at the start of the year and can sort of wipe away a lot of the disappointment from this season. So for the Aztecs, they got a pretty tough draw in the first round. Colorado State might be playing the best basketball of anyone in the Mountain West leading up to their final regular season game against Boise State, which they lost. But this is a pretty brutal draw for the Aztecs, and they have a good opportunity to shut a lot of people up right away.
I'm curious how these 3 days play out, because the Aztecs have a rest advantage in that they played on Friday and they'll have to play till Thursday. So that's a nice 6 days off there where they're able to literally kind of get off their feet, because it's a 3-day tournament, or the 3 games that they have to win the tournament. It's kind of a marathon, not a sprint. And the turnaround, the Aztecs will be playing the night game on Friday night if they're able to win on Thursday. I know we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but if they get there, they're playing the night game on Friday night, and then they play the Mountain West Conference Championship game is midday on Saturday.
You could argue the 2 seed is much worse to have than the 4 seed in the Mountain West tournament, which is a little crazy, but it's true.
So it's really about kind of a war of attrition. And I don't hate the Aztecs draw. To Fletch, to your point, Colorado State has been playing some of the best basketball of anyone in the Mountain West. At least you kind of look at Grand Canyon on the other side of the bracket. That's a team that, if we're just going off what we've seen so far this year, not a great matchup for the Aztecs, considering they got up 14 in that matchup at home for Grand Canyon, and then they, beat the Aztecs by 10 at Viejas. It's nice that Utah State and them would have to play each other on the other side. Like, I feel like the Aztecs will be favorites in a lot of these games. It really just comes down to, when you're playing over 3 straight days, if it's Utah State, if it's whoever it is, if it's the Aztecs, New Mexico, what team can get a blowout in one of these games to give some of their guys some rest, always kind of plays big in a tournament. And this is where the Aztecs' depth, of the fact that they play 11 guys, which has been heavily criticized throughout the season. I criticized it. I thought they should shorten the rotation. But over a tournament like this, where you're playing back to back to back, the fact that they do play 11 dudes, this is where the depth might kind of add to the Aztecs, which is something that a lot of other teams in the Mountain West simply don't have the ability to go 11 guys deep.
Looking forward to it. Get started tomorrow night. Colorado State will be playing Fresno State. And then if Colorado State wins, which we assume they do, it'll be San Diego State, Colorado State on Thursday. All of it will be here on San Diego Sports 760. What do you got?
619 is calling me out. I recognize this right as I said it. Arm fatigue equals Tommy John, not an ACL surgery.
Yeah, I know. I did hear you say ACL, and I just blew right past it.
Yeah, I said it, and I was like, we're just going to move on. Probably no one heard it. And
nice work, Sammy.
People did hear it.
Yeah,
and
the
text line wanted to make sure I knew it.
We'll ask Kevin Acee about it coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This sport is sponsored by San Diego Wave FC. Free agency day 2 out of the NFL. Former Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco headed to Detroit to pair with Jahmyr Gibbs. Former Packers receiver Romeo Doubs agreed to go to the Patriots on a 4-year, $80 million contract, and tight end Dawson Knox is staying with the Buffalo Bills on a new contract. And the Lakers back tonight, taking on the Timberwolves live at Crypto. LeBron is a game time decision. Minnesota is currently a 2.5-point road favorite. Point total set at 233.5. Hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. It's time to pack Snapdragon Stadium. San Diego Wave FC is back for the home opener on Saturday, March 14th at 5:45 p.m. Tickets start at just $20. Visit SanDiegoWaveFC.com today to secure your seats. Vamos Wave.
San Diego Sports 760. Then Fletcher, Sammy along with you till 2 o'clock. John Schaefer is going to be taking over. Then we just got this comment from our buddy Jay Silves on YouTube. Says, can't wait to see Tatis with this much enthusiasm and happiness in the Padres dugout this season. I only sense a little bit of sarcasm from our buddy Jay Silves there.
Jay Silves.
With that, let's bring on our Padres insider, Kevin Acee, who is out in Arizona covering Padres spring training. Kev, have you been able to keep an eye on the World Baseball Classic at all?
A little bit. Yeah, I mean, enough to feel like I got an idea of the vibe. If the DR can get past whoever their quarterfinal opponent will be, and we won't know that until they play Venezuela tomorrow, then I'm going to head out there to see Manuel and Fernando, and I guess Mason Miller as well.
Manuel would be Manny Machado, is who Kevin is referring to there. Kevin, I hope everything's going well in your world. Things are going just peachy back here in San Diego. Sammy's actually heading out to spring training this upcoming Thursday, Friday. I'll be there the following week, so maybe there's room for a Kevin Acee beer in between all of that, although I know you're an old-fashioned guy yourself. But Kev, let's talk about these Padres. So you have an article out today about Joe Musgrove getting some extra rest, but what can you tell us about the Nick Pivetta arm fatigue, understanding that Padre fans are very cautious about the words arm and fatigue?
Right. Well, we're talking about two guys with arm fatigue, one of them coming off Tommy John surgery. And if you had to, listen, take this in context here. If you had to be concerned about one of them being like ready or full go, or, you know, like you were expecting at the start of the season, it would be Joe. And that's only because there is uncertainty, and they've been really straightforward about that from the start that, hey, Joe's healthy, but we're going to not push him too hard. And so that's what's happening now with him. Pivetta, he missed the start. He's going to start on Saturday. He missed the start through today, what they call a touch and go. It's a light bullpen for a throw bullpen on Thursday after the off day, and then start on Saturday. And I would think he went 3 innings. As long as he can get to like 4 and like, let's say 60 pitches this time, I would think that then he goes like 6 or 7 days later and gets up to 70, 75 pitches, and then he's lined up for opening day is what I would think. But look, I understand the concern anytime, or of course, anytime that you hear, especially if you're talking about one of your top starters, you hear arm fatigue or, oh, he's being pushed back, there's concern. But Nick Pivetta is, by all accounts, fine.
Kevin, what do you make of the offensive output so far in spring training, scoring 27 runs last week? Is there something here? Should we read anything into it, or is it simply just spring training, or do the Padres have a little bit more hitting depth than maybe we give them credit for?
I think maybe both. I mean, I really do. It's spring training. I mean, a lot of these were 27 runs against the Mariners on Thursday, 14 against the Reds. And facing minor league pitchers or minor league hitters for the Padres, being the part of the production, a big part, if not the only part of the production in some innings. But the fact is, like, you're getting some good at-bats from Jake Cronenworth, from the Castellanos, Andujar, and those are guys that you're like, okay, if those guys can help fill out the lineup, if those guys can make them longer, then that's big. Again, even with them, if whatever you see, it's still just spring training. But I think that there's merit in thinking that the Padres are going to be a better offensive team, have the potential to be a better offensive team based on what we're seeing in spring. But I mean, I don't know where they're at, like what their stats are, but I know that they're completely inflated by it being Arizona. I mean, yesterday, I forget who it was, in the ninth inning, hit a ball toward left field. And if that were last Thursday, it might have gone to the parking lot, and it was caught in shallow left field because the wind was coming in versus going out.
Kevin Acee, our Padres insider from the San Diego Union Tribune, joining us today here on San Diego Sports 760. Kev, let's get an update on some of these guys who are fighting for spots, maybe not even at the beginning of this year, but potentially later in the year. Guys like Ty France, Alex Verdugo, what's going on? How do they look? And who are we expecting to be with the roster opening day?
I've not seen Alex Verdugo do anything except take batting practice, and people say that he looks good, but moreover, they talk about it seems like he's super engaged, especially when he came in the minor league deal, and not just that, it's minor league camp all the way, and he's not going to play in the Cactus League almost certainly. So it's like you got to earn your way back by being showing that maybe some of the things in the past about maybe not being all that dedicated are no longer true, and that you realize that this is your chance. And so the reports have been really good on that with Alex Verdugo. And that is a guy who could help you if he can get back to being one of the better hitters against right-handers, and also a pretty decent glove and a great arm, or almost great arm at three outfield positions. That would be huge. But for right now, it's like, yeah, that guy's a minor leaguer. Ty France is what's called a 20B free agent, and that means that he has 6 years service time, and he can opt out 4 days before. It actually falls on March 21st this year. He can opt out of his contract and try to sign with another team. Then, if not, then yeah, he can go to the minor leagues, and then he has certain opt-outs during the year. Walker Buehler has the same thing. So Ty France, he's fighting his way onto the roster, and with Sun Moon Song perhaps not able to start the season, I think there's a spot for Ty France or Jose Miranda. I don't think both, regardless of the good springs they're having. I don't think there's room for two corner guys who are limited to playing corner infield.
Jason Adam on track for opening day. Mm-hmm. How do you think they kind of handle his workload? And then when he's fully healthy, do you think he has a shot to be the premier setup man, or where does he fall in the bullpen?
He's been throwing bullpen since the beginning of December. The pitching, maybe not 100%, because there still is the matter of him landing on that left leg. So maybe not really 100% until just now, but he's been going. And so I think once they clear him, and I think it's going to be this weekend to pitch in the Cactus League, that's not, the workload's not an issue. I mean, perhaps a tiny bit, we would have used it here, but you know what, we felt like we could get away with not, and that was good to give Jason a little break. But if it's a one-run game and it's the 8th inning, Jason, and he normally would have, he hasn't already gone, it's early in the season, so he didn't already do a back-to-back, and it's the third day, we're not going to pitch him then, no matter what. But normal circumstances, I think Jason Adams is going to be full go once he is cleared, because the issue has been the cutting, the stopping, the starting, and doing sudden movements, fielding, and that sort of thing. That you can't control in a game. That may come up, may not come up, but in the event that it does, you got to make sure Jason Adams is ready, and that's why they've been so cautious. It's not his arm. The guy's ready to go. And I think you're right. You said that premier setup guy. I mean, there not too many have been better in that role over the last 3, maybe 4 years.
Oh, it was funny. All season long, we talked about Jason Adam being overworked last year, and it wasn't an arm injury that took him out. It was the ruptured quad, which could happen at any time. It could happen to me today, stepping off the curb in a weird way. All right, Kev, before we get you out of here, 2 weeks ago, was it? We had the ownership kerfuffle with the bids hitting the table and everything. Last week, no new news. This week, so far, no new news. You got anything for us?
No. That's the kind of thing that when it drops, it'll drop. I mean, maybe we hear that maybe someone pulled out, but when it drops, it drops.
Did you hear that, Sammy? No, up an octave.
People are not leaking too many informations on $3 billion deals.
It'd be cool if they did, though, wouldn't it, Kev?
Yes, of course. And then also it's like just another thing to have to check in on every day. And I'm certainly not checking in on the ownership situation every day because I would be driving people nuts. These are pretty complex situations that people are working on, in some instances, frankly, around the clock, because it very well could happen here in a matter of weeks.
Wow. All right, Kevin Acee, you found any new places in Arizona this year that you haven't had before? Food?
I don't think so. As a matter of fact, I have not been out one time. And I know that that's going to disappoint you, but that's only because of your expectations. You should know me by now that I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything.
I do. I feel like I know you pretty well, Kev. We've shared a meal. We've had drinks together.
Now listen.
I think that there's a social butterfly that lives within you, Kev, and every once in a while you just got to let it free.
Okay, I did go out with the people at the Canby. It is a hotel in Scottsdale, and got some stuff done there. Other than that, I haven't done anything. You guys are coming out. There are 3 restaurants: Blanco, what's the other one? North Italia, and Portino's. Right there. This is their second year of being basically in the parking lot right next to the ballpark. Perhaps we could get a glass of, a Pinot Noir or something.
Ooh.
Did Kevin Acee just invite us to have a drink?
Wow, Kevin, I am flattered. I will be honest. You and AJ Preller should just go hit up the Olive Garden. Or is that his restaurant? It's the Olive Garden, right? That he likes?
I'm not going to tell you, but it's not Olive Garden. I'm not going to tell you only out of respect. Like, I don't
Chick-fil-A.
tell people where the team stays or anything like that. It is not exactly a chain, but not exactly not a chain. It's not like something that's everywhere, but the place that is his new favorite here is different.
Got it.
Than it has been in the past.
But AJ Preller is as boring of an eater as you are. Isn't that right?
He does go out, though, because I'm positive he has no idea how to cook anything.
He just knows how to play pickup basketball. All right, Kev, thanks for your stuff, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Right on. Take care.
Kevin Acee, Union Tribune, our Padres insider. We love him every week. No octave change in Kevin's voice. He was telling the truth. We got his tell down.
Do we think he said not a chain, but is a chain? So that's not very helpful. There's a lot of salad and goes out there that is only...
I know for a fact it used to be Olive Garden.
I feel like AJ Preller is definitely a Cheesecake Factory guy.
It does, yeah.
I feel like that's his big night out. Let's go to the cheesecake. Right. Not even a shot to the cheesecake. Cheesecake has a very...
Well, and it's nice and dark in the Cheesecake Factory. Big menu. You could go to any different part of the world at the Cheesecake Factory.
You could have any kind of drink there. You have a cocktail. You could have a little wine.
All right, text line 70470. Start your message with the team. What is AJ Preller's dining spot of choice? He's not a fancy guy. AJ much prefers the Olive Garden-esque type food.
Sometimes you just got to roll to the OG. Olive Garden's always... I love me some Olive Garden.
I don't. I like their breadsticks. That's about it.
You don't like Olive Garden?
I think their pasta kind of sucks. Crucify me if you must.
First off, Olive Garden gives real portions. My thing with, I love Italian food, but sometimes you go to these really fancy Italian restaurants and it's like $30, except you get 3 bites.
You're ordering wrong.
First off, the fettuccine boat or whatever they have at Olive Garden, unbelievable. I mean, you're literally asking for diabetes, but it is fantastic.
Do you know? We don't have time for this, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Do you know what real fettuccine Alfredo is?
No.
So American fettuccine Alfredo has heavy whipping cream, has Parmesan cheese. It's very yummy, delicious, lots of salt.
Load up that cheese, baby.
Legit, 100% Italian fettuccine Alfredo. You take a stick of butter, you flatten it out into a pad, you put it at the bottom of a warm plate or a bowl. You put pasta on top of that, you sprinkle Parmesan on top of that, Alfredo. Done.
I didn't know you were a chef.
No heavy whipping cream, no nothing. You could do a little salt, maybe a little chopped garlic, but that's it.
It's a problem that I'm only 45 minutes into my 6-hour day and I'm really hungry.
And you've stopped eating crackers and chips and stuff.
We gave that up.
Oh, Sammy, you made it a month and a half.
Okay,
come on.
No. I did the whole no carb thing for 3 days, and I started feeling so ill. I literally was I can't do this. So I have to have a little bread.
That's why we've been losing long shots. Long shots coming up next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Text line's going for it. 913 AJ Preller is excellent, is excellence, so it has to be Chili's.
But that's a chain. Kevin said it's not a chain that across the country. So
AJ's a Texas Roadhouse guy. Nah, I'm a Texas Roadhouse guy.
Yeah, AJ's a city boy.
858 in Arizona. I mean, Texas Roadhouses are like the city boy equivalent of a barbecue place.
Yeah, but it's like where people want to go in a city to be country.
I guess. Great buns. Great buns. Don't even get me started.
I'm not hating
Texas
on Texas
Roadhouse.
I like it. I'm just saying that's not,
858 in Arizona. There's a really good Italian chain that's called Oregano's, but I think it's only in Arizona. So that could be AJ's spot. Maybe.
I used to live right next to Oregano.
Go ahead.
Someone told me it was Oregano's out there, but I think that person was probably messing with me
because oregano is a seasoning you add to food,
I know.
Sammy.
I know oregano is a season.
I could be wrong. I've never heard of the place.
Oregano's.
I could be wrong.
Oregano's.
Maybe the 858 number can help us out there. How is that pronounced?
760 says AJ is a Chuck E. Cheese guy.
Oh, Chuck E. Cheese. I'm so sick of Chuck E. Cheese. Office reference. Nailed it. All right, Sammy, let's get to long shots today. Brutal loss last night, but we got tennis back in the fold today with the BNP Paribas Open going. Is our boy Tiafoe going to make an appearance? Potentially.
He might. So
is our girl Pegula going to make an appearance? Hopefully.
You want her to make an appearance in this
Any
thing?
excuse to watch one of her matches, I'm in. Sammy.
I love Amanda Anisimova.
Go ahead. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Smash it.
You looking for some luck? Want to win big? Gotta play big.
You are so money and you don't even know it.
Time to take a chance
Say that me and his man.
with long shots.
Honestly, if you haven't seen it, watch the episode of The Office where Dwight gets a
Everyone's
concussion.
seen it.
Where Dwight gets a concussion and Jim tries to tell them that they're going to Chuck E. Cheese, and Michael goes, "Oh man, I'm so sick of Chuck E. Cheese."
All right.
Comedy gold. Where we going,
Fantastic.
Sammy?
Okay. Paribas Open. Everyone, you need to stop what you're doing. In the words of
913. Oregano is the cousin to Shalom Skeen.
yes, Oregano's the cousin of Shalom Skeen. Okay, listen. You need to rush to the gambling app of your choice because this match starts in 6 minutes. Okay. Frances Tiafoe, Alexander Zverev, excuse me. Over 22.5 games. Now, Zverev has beaten Tiafoe 8 of 9 times in his career, except Tiafoe, when he was playing his best tennis, was in the top 10 in the world rankings in 2023. His game has slipped a little bit since then. Didn't have a great Wimbledon showing, didn't have a great French Open showing. He has been on fire. He absolutely took apart Flavio Cobolli, the 15th ranked Italian tennis player in the world. Tiafoe's currently at 21. Tiafoe's backhand has been on point in this tournament. He has been one of the best tennis players the last couple months. In one of the Mexican events in Mexico City, he made the final and lost. He has historically played well at Indian Wells out in Palm Springs. Zverev has not actually. The best he's ever done it in the Paribas is make it to the round of 32. Zverev is an excellent player. He's a top 5. He just can't beat Alcaraz, can't beat Sinner, can't get over the hump with the best players in the world. But in this matchup, I like the over 22.5 games because Tiafoe's playing excellent. Zverev is too good to get swept. I think this goes to a third set. Either Tiafoe or Zverev is going to win, but it's going to come down to the wire. Give me over 22.5 games in the Paribas Open for Frances Tiafoe and Alexander Zverev. Again, gets going here in about 5 minutes, so rush in your bets. All right, let's head to the NBA. Celtics and the Spurs. Give me the under 221.5. Looking at the injury report, Peyton Pritchard, one of the best players for the Boston Celtics all year, averaging about 18 points per game. Started his season coming off the bench, has now elevated into the starting lineup. With Jason Tatum back, his role has been diminished a little bit, but he is out tonight, and Nikola Vucevic is also out tonight, their big center. So Wemby should have a field day, but this Celtics team plays excellent defense. They're one of the best defenses in the entire NBA. They hold teams to 110 points per game. They held the Cleveland Cavaliers over the weekend to 98 points. That is the calling card of their team. And with Tatum and Brown back, they're going to be able to shut down some of these guards for the Spurs in your Dylan Harpers, your De'Aaron Fox, your Stephon Castle. I think the inclination Vegas wants us to go over because Jason Tatum is back. But really, this calling card of this team is still defense. Give me the under 221.5. Celtics on the road taking on the Spurs. And then we're going We had some success with Santa Clara last night. We called the outright money line. I'm not going to do that again against Gonzaga because Gonzaga is a different beast. Graham Ike, they have an amazing front court. Feels like Graham Ike has played college basketball for about 7 years now.
Felt like he was at Wyoming for 5 years, and now he's been at Gonzaga for 5 more.
It's unbelievable. What we're going to do here, we're going with point totals today. Over 157.5. Both teams average in the 80s. Gonzaga averages 85 points per game. Santa Clara averages about 83 points per game. Gonzaga does play good defense, only allowing about 65. But Santa Clara does not have a big that's going to be able to stop EK in the front court. That's kind of Gonzaga's calling card. But also Santa Clara's guards have really been on a heater. They took it to St. Mary's. St. Mary's team is built around their guards, and Santa Clara last night really took it to them and outplayed them. I think even though this is the championship game, Gonzaga coming off a beatdown over Oregon State, so they have a little bit of rest, got to rest their starters. I like the over in this game, 157.5. I think this is all offensive fireworks. Gonzaga trying to close out the WCC with a win in the tournament, and Santa Clara trying to make sure they are an auto bid into the NCAA tournament, not just trying to hear their names called as one of the last teams in. So to recap, Santa Clara and Gonzaga over 157.5 point total in the NBA. Celtics and Spurs under 221.5. I think it's a defensive slugfest down there in San Antonio. And then I like Francis Tiafoe and Alexander Zverev at the Paribas Open getting going in 2 minutes. We're going over 22.5 games for some tennis locks.
Sorry, what was the pick for the Gonzaga game?
Over 157.5. Santa Clara and Gonzaga. There's gonna be a lot of points scored tonight.
Why am I not finding that game? Come on.
You gotta use the right app, Fletch. Everyone on the text line already has the correct app.
Every other game but that one.
Well, you need to get a different app then.
I guess so. Darn. All right, well, I guess I got a Tuesday going. It's San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2. Coming up in hour number 2, we got a 4-pack of tickets for you to go to the San Diego Zoo Safari Park and see the brand new Elephant Valley. Quick break. Hour 2 coming up next. San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app.
This report is sponsored by RCP Block and Brick. NFL free agency signings left and right today. The Patriots land star receiver Romeo Doubs on a 4-year contract worth $80 million from the Packers. Former Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco headed to Detroit to back up Jahmyr Gibbs. And the Jets reunion with GENO Smith, the team that drafted him, traded for him from the Raiders today for a late round pick swap. Lakers back tonight at 8:00, taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. LeBron is questionable for that one. Minnesota 2.5-point road favorites. Hear that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. The big block and rock blowout is on at RCP Block and Brick. Save big on top retaining wall blocks and decorative landscape rock. Upgrade your yard with elegant stone or start that retaining wall project at prices you won't believe through March 21st. More rcpblock.com.
Welcome to the Fletch Zone.
I'm Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long.
Not like other guys.
Sound off like you got a pair.
The frenzy continues in the NFL. The U.S. does it again at the World Baseball Classic. Brian Dutcher and the Aztecs continue to get ready for the Mountain West Tournament.
Then we will start from the beginning.
Give me Santa Clara plus 4.5 against St. Mary's in the WCC.
That's how it starts.
Give me the Knicks minus 2.5 against the Clippers.
You always have such horrible ideas.
And then give me the Nuggets plus 6.5, taking on the Thunder in Oklahoma City.
You figured it out, didn't you? You cracked the code.
Now we go to the San Diego Sports 760 studios to get into the Fletch Zone.
Yeah, it's hour number 2 here on San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock today. John Schaefer is going to be taking over then. All right, we didn't really talk as much NFL in the first hour today as we did yesterday because yesterday was pure chaos, but things are going down today too. So the Detroit Lions take the running back from the Kansas City Chiefs, Isaiah Pacheco, you know, the guy that runs like he's mad at the ground. He is now in the Detroit Lions backfield to pair up with Jahmyr Gibbs, replacing David Montgomery. I kind of love that move. We'll get into it in a second. Patriots land Romeo Doubs on a 4-year deal. So this was a highly sought after free agent wide receiver from the Green Bay Packers, who at times looked fantastic with the Packers over the last couple of years. At times looked a little forgettable for the Packers. Remember him in college? He was an absolute menace. I think he cooked the Aztecs for like 250 yards when he played against San Diego State. And then the Jets land their quarterback, GENO Smith, who we spent a lot of time making fun of in the first hour. But let's hit those other two, because this is not only fantasy football relevant, this is team relevant, because with the New England Patriots getting Romeo Doubs, does that close the door on a Mike Vrabel, A.J. Brown reunion? I would think, yes, it does close the door on a Mike Vrabel, A.J. Brown reunion.
Well, as of a report 15 minutes ago, it is not closing the door on A.J. Brown. That was actually going to be the big three, but we can get to it here. I think I like the Romeo Doubs signing. I actually think
I wanted him on the Niners, if I'm being completely honest.
And Romeo Doubs, the Packers receiving core the last couple of years has been a lot of B-level guys. Like Christian Watson was kind of thought of as the best of that group. And then you had Romeo Doubs and just a collection of guys. And it just feels like no one ever had distinguished roles on the team. And Romeo Doubs is that kind of big play, big target guy. I always thought he was actually the best of all that group of receivers. Smart gift for the Patriots. You know, you get rid of Stephon Diggs. You got to get Drake May weapons, because in the playoffs, despite them getting to the Super Bowl, I mean, there were some pretty putrid offensive performances. And against the Chargers and the Broncos, the defense basically single-handedly won those games. And I can't put it all on Drake May, because a lot of that had to do with he didn't have a legit number one to throw to. So Romeo Doubs, I like this deal at $20 million per year, and then we'll see. AJ Brown is still kind of dangling out there. And the team that I think is a dark horse for is the Chargers. Now AJ Brown,
what have they done?
Exactly
nothing.
Which is why I think they're going to rush and get him. AJ Brown has a list of teams he wants to play for. And it's the Pats, Chiefs, Chargers, and I believe someone else. I think the Bills are on that list as well. Well, the Bills got DJ Moore, and I don't think the Chiefs are in the business of trading a bunch of draft picks for AJ Brown. The Pats or the Chargers make sense, and maybe the door is still open, but it does feel like it's coming down to the Pats and the Chargers. If I'm AJ Brown, I'd probably want to catch passes from Justin Herbert over Drake May. That's just me personally, but it does feel like AJ Brown is kind of one of the last big names. See where he ends up landing.
Well, think about everybody that would have made sense with the Chargers over the last couple of days. That didn't happen. Romeo Doubs would have made a lot of sense to go to the Los Angeles Chargers. Rashid Shaheed literally played his high school ball here in Southern California. Would have made a lot of sense to go to the Los Angeles Chargers. He signs back with the Seahawks. Mike Evans would have made a ton of sense to go to the Chargers. He's now in San Francisco. So they've just missed out on a bunch. And maybe that's because they're pursuing Trey Hendrickson. And maybe that's because that's taken up all of their mindset, which if they get him, worth it. But in the meantime, look at what you've missed out on. And all the highly valued free agent wide receivers are gone. And now you may have to dip into your trade value package and send something astronomical over to the Eagles to get AJ Brown because they're asking for the moon. And so then you start to do the math and the equation are like, the Chargers really going to go after AJ Brown and Trey Hendrickson, whereas Romeo Doubs you could have gotten on a cheaper deal, less so than you would have had to end up paying AJ Brown. Rashid Shaheed, same thing, and they missed the boat on both of them. And now it's just, what are the Chargers actually going to do? Because they need to get better heading into next year. All right, let's get to the big three of hour number 2. Stay tuned for those Elephant Valley tickets. They are coming up very, very soon. In fact, probably, maybe, definitely right after the big three, where Sammy rips through the top stories in the world of sports. Sammy, smash.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The big three.
858 texting into the show. We were talking about AJ Preller's dining choices. He says, we know AJ likes to spend on old things, overspend on old things. So he's probably going to a classic steakhouse in Scottsdale. Funny. He's going to order the Xander Bogarts off the menu.
Yeah, ordered the was good 6 years ago.
MVP candidate in 2018.
Aged for 10 years.
Right. All right, Sammy, where we go?
Kyler Murray is the favorite team to land him right now is the Minnesota Vikings. If he goes to Minnesota, what is the ceiling for that team next year?
I think it is what it was with Sam Darnold. I really do. Like, I think that the Minnesota Vikings had a very similar team this past season as they had when they won 14 games with Sam Darnold. However, the quarterback play was lacking that much. And I think J.J. McCarthy and the uncertainty about him and the injury, he literally played one good quarter of football last year. It was prime time. Was it the Falcons they were playing against? I feel like it was.
No, it was the Bears, the fourth quarter on Monday Night Football.
That's right. Okay, it was a big moment for J.J. McCarthy. Outside of that, he was largely disappointing the entire season. So the defense wasn't that different. They still had Brian Flores as the defensive coordinator, who spent a great year the year before. The offense still had Justin Jefferson on it. Like, it should have been working. It just wasn't with J.J. McCarthy. I think Kyler Murray can slide in and make it work easy out in Minnesota.
I do think Kyler Murray's interesting there because you have Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. You got a lot.
Jordan Addison, maybe.
Well, I mean, if he's out there, he's a great player.
He is, but he's probably going to be dealing with another suspension.
I still, though, think that they're third in their division. I mean, the only team I think that they could jump would be Green Bay. I don't see them jumping the Bears, and I don't see them jumping the Lions. I think the Lions are having a big bounce-back season. They were a lot like the Chiefs to me last year. They got off to a rough start, could never really claw out of the hole, and it felt like it kind of buried them. The Lions have too much talent to have the exact same team they had last year, and I think they're coming back with a vengeance. It's just such a tough division to be in.
What's better, NFC North or NFC West?
Ooh, NFC West.
NFC West is more top-heavy. NFC North is better throughout.
Yeah, I guess the Packers are better than the Cardinals if you're equating the third best or the last place team. The Vikings are better than the Cardinals. I don't know. If you're Kyler Murray, the Vikings have the best ability to make you a star again. I don't know if that necessarily equates to winning games because you're going to a brutal division, but now if Pittsburgh has become attractive, I think if you're Kyler Murray and that Michael Pittman's there and DK Metcalf, that's a nasty little receiving duo. And last year with Aaron Rodgers, it felt like they saw what happened. You had DK Metcalf, who was unbelievable, but teams just figured out DK Metcalf was really the only offensive piece there. They signed Rico Dowdle. I actually like what Pittsburgh's done in free agency so far. If I'm Kyler, it has to be between Pittsburgh and Minnesota.
I would go to Minnesota because of the fact that Kevin O'Connell's the head coach in Minnesota. And I think that gives you a better opportunity to advance yourself as a quarterback than Mike McCarthy does.
In the NFC, even if Kyler goes there, I'm not sitting here saying Minnesota's going far in the NFC because I don't think they're winning their division. I think they're a fringe playoff team. It is an interesting in that the NFC does feel pretty wide open. Like the Rams should be the favorites.
I think the Rams should be the Super Bowl favorites today.
Yes.
I think a lot can change between now and the start of the season.
The NFC just feels wide open because the Bears definitely benefited off a bad schedule, but I think they're going to be better.
I think the Bears are going to be good next year, and I think Caleb Williams continues on with the progression, but we always talk about this with the Broncos, the amount of close games they won. The Bears did the same thing. Like, are they going to be able to have that same success in the same late game heroics that they had this last year?
You think
and timely turnovers, not to mention.
The Commanders are back in the picture. Looks like the Bucs are falling back. There's a lot up in the air. The Niners, your Niners are good, but can they stay healthy? I mean, I don't know. There's a lot going on.
They'll stay healthy. We're going to bomb that EMF station or whatever the electrical substation is. Get them the hell away from that. What's next, Sammy?
Biggest free agent left. Biggest free agent heading into free agency is Trey Hendrickson.
Right.
Been linked to the Bears, been linked to the Chargers, been linked to the Colts, and the favorite is Dallas. Where should Trey Hendrickson want to go?
He's thinking about his pocketbooks. He wants to go to Dallas. If he's thinking about winning, be hard for me not to say the Chargers. I know we just kind of railed on the Chargers for not doing anything here. And knowing the history of the Chargers, most likely they're not going to be doing a whole lot of winning. But man, I like the roster. And I like the coaching moves they've made. And I like the fact that Mike McDaniels is there. And as much as I can't stand Jim Harbaugh, I like the fact that he's their head coach. There's a lot to like with this Chargers team. You add an elite level pass rusher to it, and you make a move, whether it's A.J. Brown or a different wide receiver that you can bring in and add some juice to this offense. I really like what the Chargers have going into next year. And I think Trey Hendrickson would be the perfect addition to the team.
He should want to be a Dallas Cowboy. The Dallas Cowboys, I know you don't believe me with how good Dallas is going to be next year.
No, I get that they're going to be good, but is this not the same exact conversation we were just having about the Dallas Cowboys and Max Crosby? Like, you're making the same mistake.
Yeah, but you're not trading draft capital for them. Max Crosby's a better pass rusher than Trey Hendrickson, but you're not giving away a boatload of picks. I just think that division's wide open. The Giants are going to be a fun team next year, but they're still young, and it's going to take them a minute to get that together. Washington should be excited with Daniels coming back, but that's a very flawed roster. In the Eagles, like, are we just to assume that the Eagles are going to win the division? I mean, the Eagles have made no moves, and hanging over their heads is A.J. Brown drama.
And they didn't fire Nick Sirianni.
Jalen Carter, there was a report the other day they were taking calls on him. I just feel like the Eagles are running the same team back, and they're getting a little bit old. And then it leaves the Dallas Cowboys. Down the stretch there, the Cowboys are playing really good football. Again, kind of like the Chiefs, kind of like the Lions, dug themselves a massive hole at the start of the season and just mathematically couldn't crawl themselves out of it. This is one of the best offenses in football. And if this defense is a top 15 defense, if it's a top 10 defense, which could happen with Quinnen Williams, if you sign Trey Hendrickson and you just throw everything at the draft defensively, I think the Cowboys could win that division. I actually think it's a better opportunity to win because although the Chargers will be a good team this year, I mean, the Chargers are good. Denver did have a good record last year. The Chiefs just signed Walker coming back, and hell, the Raiders have had a great free agency so far. So that division, the AFC West, is a brutal, brutal division.
Now let's squeeze one more in here.
All right. So Dana White, I don't know. Okay, so if people saw this, Zuffa Boxing has become a thing. It's a new boxing league that Dana White has created with Turkey Al-Sheikh. They've been having a couple fights. They had their fourth card on Sunday. Jai Apatai beat Brandon Glanton. Anyway, after the fight, and there was a lot of drama leading up to this fight, by the way, with the IBF not sanctioning the fight and all the regulating bodies saying that this boxing league, they wouldn't sanction it. It's very complicated. But anyway, Dana White after absolutely eviscerate boxing promoters, says they have no idea what they're doing, single-handedly calls out Bob Arum, Oscar De La Hoya, and Eddie Hearn, saying he's coming to take every fighter that has legit talent in boxing. Does he have a point about boxing promoters over the years? And do we believe that Dana White will be able to accomplish what he's done in the UFC with boxing?
Sammy, do me a favor and repost that Instagram post from @Fletch and Sammy. You can hit that little repost button. That way our followers can see it. And if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend it. Go give us a follow on Instagram. Dana White is in his bag when he's doing stuff like this. And probably the best part of Dana White is that he has the years and years to back this up and go after Oscar De La Hoya and go after Ariel Helwani and go after Eddie Hearn for starting his own little thing. Because Dana does have the resume to back it all up. Now I'll tell you where Dana's going to struggle here moving forward. Dana's got too much going on. And the UFC is starting to struggle with it. Like, understand what your bell cow is. Sammy, I told you this before the show, but there was an era where Seth MacFarlane was just doing Family Guy, and Family Guy was probably the best animated TV show of all time. Maybe Simpsons, whatever. For the sake of the argument, let's go with Family Guy being the best. And then he started making American Dad. And for a while, Seth MacFarlane was trying to do both, but American Dad was getting a little more love, and American Dad was a better show than Family Guy during that time. And then he switched back to Family Guy, and the same thing happened. This is what Dana White's doing. He has boxing now. He has Power Slap now. He has the UFC still, but what's happening with the UFC lately? It's struggling. It's hurting. Do we all see the White House card that got literally cobbled together 2 weeks before the fight? They've had a year to
That's
think
getting
about this
crushed,
White
by
House
the
card.
way, for the fights on that card.
As they should be. They're not very good. You got star power, but that's it. You don't have good matchups. So when you look at what Dana White's doing right now, it does feel like he is too spread thin and he's trying to do too many different things, where if he just focused on the one thing that we all love Dana White for, the UFC, maybe that product would be a little bit better.
Well, as a boxing fan, I'm excited that Dana White has entered the space because he's right. To answer the first part of the question, he's right that all these promoters have hurt the sport over the years. Oscar De La Hoya, Bob Arum, Eddie Hearn, I think has been good for the sport, but
I do love what he was saying too. He's like, I've put on 42 events this year. What have they done?
I mean,
do they even have a TV deal?
Well, because if you're a box, it's just like business. If you're Oscar De La Hoya and you have two fighters from your Golden Boy stable who can fight, and you get to keep all the profits of all the money, versus making a deal with Bob Arum and ESPN, formerly was their broadcast partner, Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, you have to split the profits. So business-wise, people fight in their own stable. We haven't gotten the fights we've wanted to see over the years. Now, with Dana White trying to create a boxing league, he's having to overpay average fighters to come get them to join. Conor Benn is an example of this. He's a big deal in London and England, not such a big deal in the States. They paid him $15 million for one fight to come fight under the Zuffa boxing promotion. And you've already started to see former UFC fighters, current UFC fighters, mainly Israel Adesanya, spoke out about this and was like, wait, are you kidding me? Like, Conor Benn's getting paid $15 million. I'm not trying to take money away from them, but I'm a bigger star than Conor Benn. Israel Adesanya's biggest payday ever was against Alex Pereira in the second fight. He only made $3.5 million. Conor Benn is making $15 million to fight Regis Prograis in something that's not even close to the level of a fight there. So Dana White, if he can accomplish the boxing league and getting all the big fighters under one stable, it's great, but it's going to be really hard to do. And it does feel like it's taken away from the UFC a little bit, and the UFC is lacking some star power. So it'll be interesting to see if both fighters, boxers and UFC fighters, start getting jealous of each other and PO'd.
The fight world is heading into a pretty interesting era. I can't wait to see what happens next. All right, the Mountain West has announced the All Mountain West teams, the All Mountain West defensive teams, and all the players of the year. We'll tell you what Aztecs got what on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Is that Nickelback on a Tuesday?
Little Nickelback for you, Fletch, on a Tuesday.
Hell yeah, dude. San Diego Sports 760. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. John Schaefer's going to take over then. All right, Mountain West has released their all Mountain West teams. They're all Mountain West defensive team and all that good stuff. Reese Dixon Waters is all Mountain West second team. Miles Bird, all Mountain West third team. No Aztec made all Mountain West first team. And BJ Davis did not get Mountain West sixth man of the year.
What?
Shocking. Carson Templin of Utah State got it.
That's crazy.
Jared Calhoun of Utah State won coach of the year. So not a whole lot of Aztecs in it. Now, Miles Bird did win defensive player of the year in the Mountain West, which I do think is well-deserved. Think about some of the games he's had with 5 steals, 3 or 4 blocks. Like Miles Bird has been a menace defensively all year.
I don't like if the awards are just going to become whoever is number one in the conference.
See, for coaching in the Mountain West, I do think coach of the year should just be whichever team wins the Mountain West regular season, because it's such a grind and it's such a hassle. Now, this is the last one ever. I would have loved to see Dutch get it. But frankly, I think Dutch would tell you Jared Calhoun probably deserved it this year.
I just don't like in sports, we've gone to this narrative of like the Heisman, one of the prestigious awards in all sports.
Right.
It's a quarterback award unless someone has an unbelievable as a corner and a return. Like the chance of it happening. NFL.
Jeremiah Smith, was he the last non-quarterback to get it?
He was the last non-quarterback to get it. And then the last defensive player was either Ndamukong Suh or Desmond Howard. I can't remember which one it was. And then NFL MVP has become a quarterback's award. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, to the first 2-3 months of the season, I think was the MVP, but there was no chance that he was going to get that. It does feel like, I mean, obviously I'm reading into it a little bit, but if it just becomes who is like at the top, like coach of the year is always just a team that went from worst to first, always in the NFL.
Yeah, which Kevin Stefanski won it twice while he was the Cleveland Browns head coach. That tells you all you need to know about coach of the year. I mean, he was doing it with like 10 different quarterbacks. He was doing it with one of the worst contracts. I would say the worst contract in NFL history on his side. But yeah, so I would agree with you. I think awards for the most part are kind of dumb. Like the year that San Diego State had Malachi Flynn and KJ Fagan. Malachi Flynn somehow won defensive player of the year in the Mountain West. KJ Fagan is the best college basketball on-ball defender I've seen in my life. He was that good. So it is kind of silly. But Miles Bird, congratulations. Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year. I think well-deserved.
Shout out to Miles Bird. Are you surprised that Utah State is the betting favorite? Because
a little bit.
If you think about it, they have the least motivation of any team in the Mountain West to win because they're going to be in March Madness no matter what.
Well, let's rip through these odds, shall we? And we can have this
rip through
conversation. So I believe this is FanDuel who has these odds if you're looking for them. Utah State plus 185, San Diego State right behind them at plus 370, New Mexico at plus 550, Grand Canyon plus 550, Boise plus 650, Nevada plus 1800, Colorado State, who has been on a tear, at plus 2,500. Now, a lot of that is because Colorado State has a pretty rough road to get
and they got to play another game, even though it's against Fresno State.
Right. They got to play 4 games, which Nevada does too. I can't believe the disparity between Nevada and Colorado State. I would have thought coming into this, just based on how these two teams are playing, Colorado State should have the upper hand on Nevada. But Colorado State, if they get past Fresno State, will have San Diego State. That's a really tough road. So you can acknowledge that. UNLV plus 5,000. The way they finished off their year, they're one of the hotter teams in the Mountain West.
And they're playing at home. That's some serious value right there.
Dre Gibbs Lawhorn is the type of player who can absolutely win you a game on his own. He goes off for 35. Watch out, world. And we almost saw that at Viejas Arena the other night. Wyoming, 6,500. Fresno State doesn't matter. San Jose State doesn't matter. Air Force doesn't matter. Could you imagine if Air Force goes on a run, didn't win a single Mountain West regular season game, 0-20, and even if they win one, could you imagine?
Conference tournaments are some of my favorite things to bet because you can find serious value with teams that need it. Like Utah State, for example, in the Mountain West, like I was just getting to, is the favorite, as they should be. They've been the best Mountain West Conference team so far this season.
They're not playing close to the best ball.
They're not playing like it. And again, motivation. They're going to hear their name called on Selection Sunday, whether they lose in the first round or they win the entire tournament. San Diego State, everyone else needs it badly. So you have a lot of value in these conference tournaments. Like tonight, you got Santa Clara playing Gonzaga. Santa Clara needs it way more than Gonzaga and St. Mary's did because they just need to get in the tourney. So from a gambling perspective, you can find a lot of value kind of down the charts in the Big 12, the SEC. I mean, look at the Big 12. Iowa State, Kansas, Arizona. I mean, Houston. They're all going to be in the tournament. So although, yeah, do you want to win the Big 12 tournament? Yes. It's not really the end of the world if you don't. Whereas some of these teams, genuinely, West Virginia needs it for their playoff lives. So you can find some real gambling value this week.
By the way, anybody who was watching Troy last night win is it the Sun Belt? I think it's the Sun Belt Championship and make their way to the NCAA tournament. It should have been a surprise, but you got a great value on it if you were betting it. All right, San Diego Sports 760 break here, and we got a hilarious text we got to react to on the other side. It's San Diego Sports 760. You're listening live on the iHeartRadio app.
The sport is sponsored by Lowe's. Some NFL free agent signings today on day 2. Jets trade back for their former quarterback. GENO Smith will be the quarterback of the New York Jets for a late round pick swap with the Raiders this year. The Patriots landed Romeo Doubs on a 4-year contract worth $80 million coming over from the Packers, and the Lions added former Chiefs running back Isaiah Pacheco to pair with Jahmyr Gibbs. Lake Show back tonight right here on San Diego Sports 760. That game will be at 8 o'clock. They're taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. One game separates them in the Western Conference standings. Lakers are 2-0 so far this season against Minnesota. Minnesota is currently a 2.5-point favorite with the point total set at 230.5. Spring deals are popping up early at Lowe's. Get 4 bags of STA Green 2 cubic foot mulch for just $10. Plus, save $20 on an Ego 56-volt string trimmer, now just $199. Only at Lowe's, valid through March 18th. Mulch offer excludes Hawaii. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
San Diego Sports 760. We got 30 minutes left here. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you till 2 o'clock. The big foe is playing tennis right now. How's it looking for your bet, Sammy?
Quietly optimistic early. It's
for your entry, not your bet. Sorry.
It's 2-2 early. We need the over 22.5. Like I told you, this is going to be a very competitive match. Tiafoe and Zverev going back and forth. tap into the Paribas right now.
The big foe. I got a theory. Kat Fisher's been out sick for the last couple of days. And look, obviously Kat Fisher, like we've talked about, is dealing with her chemotherapy and everything. And we wish Kat the best.
Yeah.
She's been out sick. Quote, huge tennis fan.
Oh, she is?
Huge tennis fan.
I didn't know she was a tennis fan.
Huge tennis fan. And goes to the BNP Paribas every year. I'm conspiracy theorying it. Kat's not actually sick. She's at the BNP Paribas Open.
Kat is a tennis fan.
Because she's handled chemotherapy like you wouldn't know she was going through chemo if you were talking to her. She's been a champ. Like she hasn't had any of the side effects, and supposedly she's sick right now. I actually think she's out in Indian Wells watching some
text
tennis.
her that right now.
I did, and I sent a picture of the screen here. And she's also kind of in love with Francis Tiafoe.
Who isn't?
Sammy Long isn't, that's for sure. All right, it's San Diego Sports 760. I want to get to a little winner losers of the NFL free agency, NFL legal tampering window, and we'll do so here in just a second. But I did want to read this coming in on the text. Oh, no, sorry. Connor McGovern, the Buffalo Bills center. I don't know if this just happened, like probably 30 minutes ago. Connor McGovern just re-signed a 4-year, $52 million deal with the Buffalo Bills. And so what does he do in his press conference? Shows up with a bunch of pizzas that he bought for the entire Bills media crew, for the entire Bills
That's
reporters. That's the coolest thing ever. So if I ever fall into a big sum of cash, Sammy, I'm buying pizzas for the entire building.
I don't want pizzas. I want something a little bit more than that.
Yeah, but I want pizza. Like I'm kind of hungry for pizza right now after seeing that video from Connor McGovern.
Speaking of the Bills, the Buffalo Bills,
they got DJ Moore.
DJ Moore. That's big. Does that put you over the hump?
By the way, the Bears fixed their problem right away. DJ Moore going out. They just brought in a wide receiver. Who'd they bring in?
Raymond.
Khalif Raymond from the Lions.
Detroit Lions. I don't like the Ravens made a big swing in Max Crosby. And does that put a lot of pressure on Lamar Jackson? 100%.
Look, Sammy, you're going to roll your eyes here, but the Buffalo Bills are going to be just fine. They were literally a broken foot away from being in the Super Bowl this year.
Well, first off, they are just fine. They're just fine every year. That's what they are. They're fine to okay.
Such a hater.
And they don't win in big games. This is not even ripping Josh Allen. I think the Bills gotta help this guy. I mean, at some point, Josh Allen, to all the point everyone's made, and I will still hold on that Josh Allen does not play the biggest games, but that's a conversation for another day. Josh Allen, to the point about the broken foot, and I mean, he willed them to a win against Jacksonville. Josh Allen completely won that game by himself. If I'm a Buffalo Bills fan today, and I know we got a few listening because they text me all the time, hate from as a Chiefs fan. Text us 70470. Start your message with team. Is DJ Moore? If I'm Josh Allen, am I happy that the big offseason acquisition was DJ Moore with no changes to the defense so far in free agency whatsoever?
Look, it's something, right? The Buffalo Bills needed DJ Moore last year. They didn't have him. We can talk all we want about the end of that game against the Broncos, but there were also some pretty bad calls at the end of that game that we all remember. Josh Allen was also playing on a broken foot.
He also turned the ball over 4 times. That's all very true. But you can't sit here and say the Buffalo Bills would have been a worse opponent than the Patriots were for the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Like I think we all agree it would have been a much better football game. In fact, I would probably have the Buffalo Bills as the favorite. Well, anything would have been a better game than what we got, but that doesn't mean that they got there. They didn't get there.
True. All right. Well, let's do a little winners and losers of the first day of the legal tampering window. And look who just jumped in studio. Hi, J-Riff.
What's up, dude?
Hi.
What's up, guys?
Look at him. He's so handsome. He's got a little beard scruff going on.
That beard scruff will be going down the drain of your sink tonight.
Oh, that's kind of gross.
Wait, hold on.
It's also a weird way of saying it.
I don't have headphones, Sammy, so you're going to have to scream through the soundproof glass.
Oh, I got headphones.
What if we do this? Now it's going to burn my ears out, but there you go.
I got headphones in here for Rifkin if he was coming and get some.
Oh, yeah. I'll just grab those. Okay. How about that?
Winners and losers of the legal tampering window opening up in the NFL. I do think we start with the biggest winner. And so far for me, it is the Las Vegas Raiders, who are protecting their quarterback, their rookie quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, who have made some big moves to the offensive line. They bring in some skill players. They bring in some defenders. They get rid of a massive contract in Max Crosby that they'll now use to kind of supplement the team around a young quarterback. Maybe not for this year, the Raiders are the biggest winners, but for the next 5 years, you feel like this was the most productive last 2 days of the last 6 years of the Las Vegas Raiders.
I agree with you on the Raiders. The Raiders made smart decisions that wasn't always the sexiest signings. I mean, Linderbaum signing a center is great for the diehards, but that doesn't help you win at the press conference. You know, when you trade Max Crosby, you're going to get crushed, but mean, look what they've been able to do in the past week.
I think Naylor is a great addition to the wide receiver room too.
Naylor, I mean, talking about Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker, former teammates at Georgia at the linebacker spots. I mean, that's a big deal for them. And Linderbaum, look at what the Chargers have dealt with for years. I mean, Justin Herbert has had a horrible interior offensive line play, and he's been sacked at a clip that we haven't seen outside of Caleb Williams the last few seasons. They saw that in their own division and were like, let's go get Linderbaum. I think that was a big pickup for them. I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Steelers have actually had a really good free agency.
If they get a quarterback.
Well, yeah, that's a whole different conversation. But I'm talking about
if they get Kyler Murray, this was a really, really good last couple of days.
That's fair. But Michael Pittman, I don't know why the Colts gave up on him. That doesn't make any sense to me to pay Alec Pierce. And Michael Pittman did all the dirty work, so Alec Pierce could be the deep ball guy. Now you give DK Metcalf a number 2 receiver. And Rico Dowdle, quietly 2 years in a row, over 1,000 yards rushing. They haven't had an elite running back in Pittsburgh in years. So I quietly like that they're kind of investing in the offense, because the Pittsburgh Steelers offense the last 4 to 5 seasons has been pretty putrid at times.
I think the Steelers had a couple directions to go after this last season. They could have gone into full tank mode job, and I would have been okay with that. In fact, I would have been fine with it. I would say, okay, the Steelers making sense. They're going to move on from TJ Watt, stockpile a bunch of draft picks, and that works. But instead, they're deciding to go, we could retool this and actually make it work. So they're sticking with the last couple of years of prime TJ Watt, and they're building the offense because they know they got the defense kind of handled. I like what the Steelers are doing too. They would certainly be in my winners category. I think the Chiefs and the Niners both got better over the last couple of days.
100% too.
I would have them both in my winners category. I might put the Denver Broncos in my biggest losers category. So today they released Dre Greenlaw, who injury prone, yes, but is an absolute problem and a menace on the defense. And they also lost Franklin yesterday, who, if you were watching last year, he was one of the best interior pass rushers in all of football last year. They lose him to the Tennessee Titans. The Denver Broncos have gotten far worse over the last couple of days. And if anyone's projecting them to just run away with the AFC West next year, I don't see it.
Well, to the point about the Chiefs and Niners, I think the Chiefs genuinely got better yesterday, getting a running back in, Gilman at the safety spot. I like what they did in Tonga at defensive tackle. I mean, the Broncos and the Chargers, I think people had or still have reason to be excited for next year. You're getting Slater back, getting Joe Alt back, but you lose Zion Johnson. You've made no moves whatsoever. Again, this could all change. If they sign Trey Hendrickson, I'm going to have a different take on the Chargers. But, I mean, I thought the whole point was to get more explosive offensively. I thought they were going to be in on one of these receivers. So far, the receiver market has completely shored up. The Niners stole Mike Evans from them. I thought he was going to the Chargers. So unless A.J. Brown is packing his bags to Los Angeles tonight, I don't know what the Chargers have done. I mean, you re-signed Khalil Mack, who's 36, 37. You got Derwin James is 32. They just feel like they're kind of getting a little bit old on defense. And then to your Broncos point, that team won 1-score games against the Jets, Giants, Chiefs, third stringers, the Commanders. I mean, they feasted on a bad schedule last year. I'm not saying the Broncos are going to be bad, but to think that they're just going to be right back at the top with no moves made. I also got to give another team, the Packers. The Packers losing Dobbs. You trade Rashawn Gary.
So Christian Watson's their wide receiver 1 now. When's the last time Christian Watson played an entire NFL season? I'll answer the question for you. Never. He's never played a full NFL season.
Because if you're the Packers, you think Jordan Love, we talk about Lamar Jackson having pressure, Josh Allen, all the kind of usual suspects. At some point, Jordan Love has to win a couple playoff games.
Sure.
To justify the contract he got. And I don't think
it's been how many straight years of being the 7th seed?
3 straight years of being the number 7 seed in the NFC. And now you have, the Lions missed the playoffs last year. They're going to be back in the picture. And now Caleb Williams is one of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL. So the Packers, I think, have been a little disappointing this free agency.
Sammy, I can't believe it. I'm honestly flabbergasted that when you were talking about the Chiefs, you didn't mention Travis Kelce coming back to the Chiefs on a 1-year deal worth $12 million.
That was always going to happen.
And he says Taylor Swift was his inspiration to come back for his 14th season. Oh my God, the love story just keeps getting better and better.
Shout out to T Swift.
Shout out to T Swift. How special is that? Hi, J Riff.
Hey guys,
how are you?
It's been really fun to listen to you. Whenever I fill in for Schaefer, I pop you guys on for 2 hours on that gorgeous user-friendly iHeartRadio app. And it's really, I've never screamed at my iPad more in my life.
Oh, what are you screaming about?
You were upset at our sports list.
Okay, what is the hardest sport to play in the world? Is that
coming up next? I am going to psychoanalyze why these boys are so disconnected from the reality that golf is not a difficult sport.
What? You're gonna lose that argument.
You don't understand. I already have a poor relationship with sleep. And since you guys have put this publicly out there, it has persistently regressed.
So why don't we do this?
Thank you for that. I'm putting you guys responsible for my emotional state right now.
Why don't we do this? We're going to give away some tickets right now.
Give away some tickets.
Sammy,
Let's put the vibe up.
Can we let J-Riff pick the caller number?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Caller number 8.
Caller number 8, you're going to win a family 4-pack of tickets to the brand new Elephant Valley out of the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. Call 877-767-4760, and we'll see why J-Riff's panties are in a twist coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey, it's Fletch for Valley View Casino and Hotel coming up this Friday night. This Friday night, it's Dave's $250,000 weekend windfall happening on Friday the 13th. You could be one of 10 guests who are going to spin to win $25,000 each. That's right. 10 guests could walk away with 25 grand in their hand. Plus, more play is going to be awarded throughout the night. That's free slot play. Earn entries all month long through slot and table gameplay and activate your entry multiplier at our guest service kiosks located throughout the casino. Plus, you got to check out all the food. Patties and Pints is outrageous. That Austin burger is so good. The Black and Blue Steakhouse is phenomenal as well. The cafe, really, really good. While you're there, don't forget to join the Players Club so you can get discounts on all those meals I was just telling you about. Plus, when you join the Players Club, you're going to get over $200 in free offers to use at San Diego's favorite casino, including free more play, which is free slot play, $10 a match play, which is free table game play. $200 in free offers as soon as you sign up for that Valley View Casino Players Club card. So don't miss out. Join Valley View Casino Hotel on March 13th for Dave's $250,000 weekend windfall and join the Ultimate Players Club to get over $200 in free offers today. To learn more, visit valleyviewcasino.com. All guests 21 and over are invited to enjoy the casino, hotel, and restaurants. Shout out to Dylan in Rancho Bernardo winning
Dylan!
those San Diego Zoo Safari Park tickets. I'll be out there tomorrow morning. We're doing the morning show from the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, which doesn't open until there's only an hour left with our morning show. So that'll be fun. We're going to spend some time with the elephants. I may try to ride an elephant.
Hold on. Sorry for that elephant. I mean, what is?
Hold on. You think an elephant can't hold me, Sammy? Elephants are massive. They're the biggest land animals.
Hold on. He's been riding a Peloton.
No, he hasn't been riding a Peloton.
Oh, wait, what's the update? Oh, you haven't.
I still don't have the power cord.
So tonight, when I sleep next to it,
you are going to be in the.
I can have the wherewithal to know that it doesn't have your dried sweat all over the place.
Yeah.
Good.
So Rifkit, we need a report back because he's claimed that it's a coat rack. And
currently, not even lying,
one expensive coat rack. My friend.
Riff's comforter went in the wash last night, and it is currently hanging on the Peloton.
I was worried you weren't going to wash it, so thank you for that. That was scary.
So tell us why golf is not a hard sport.
Well, first of all, you guys did a very poor job because there were like 9 different conversations in one, and then Sammy went on some weird tangent about bobsledding that nobody asked for.
No, that would have been me.
How is not a sport?
So bobsled's absolutely.
Absolutely.
I mean, you just
more
sit in
of
a little cart and go down a slide.
Okay.
But
so here,
do we need to talk about bouncy bobsled babes again? Because we can.
Well, I'm not saying they're not fun.
Is running on the beach a sport then by that definition?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's the thing. It's like number one, you guys have to define what you even think a sport is and what criteria meet it. We don't have enough time. So here's what I think. I don't think that this is about whether golf is a sport or not at all. What I truly think it's about is, Sam, you play golf?
I mean, it plays me more than I play it.
But you're an aspiring golf, you want to work that into the mix.
No, we have fun. We drink beer.
Have fun. I'm not going around saying I'm a golfer.
Stop avoiding. Golf is in the mix for you.
Yeah, but I'm not a good player.
Would you say that golf is the sport that you play the most consistently?
Honestly, since I got out of high school, probably.
Yeah, okay. Life comes at you fast.
Okay.
My dad told me when I was like 17 years old, I should take golf a little more seriously. And for the rest of your life,
golf is going to be the sport that is likely the consistent one, right?
Yeah, because at some point I'm not going to be able to go to the rec and hoop.
So what this is about is you guys are protecting your athletic identities, and that's totally fine. You guys don't play other sports. You don't play other sports, and so you're like, oh, but if golf isn't a hard sport, then I must not be a real athlete, and I have to convince myself that an athlete. So I'm going to make the case that this thing is a sport because my athletic identity is embedded in it.
J-Riff,
that's what's happening.
First off, we do play other sports. I was in a rec basketball league and a rec softball league.
Hell yeah!
What I'm saying,
both are more sports than professional golf.
But to be a good golfer is one of the hardest things.
Why are there more professional golfers than any other professional sports out there?
But how many make a living off it? But as elite level play?
Okay, but a G League basketball player is closer to an NBA, the best NBA player, than the worst professional golfer is to Tiger Woods. No, they can make a living off of golf when the G League players make $42,000 a year.
There's like 80 golfers on the planet on any given basis. Right now, that
I'm just saying that the margin of error to be a professional golfer is a lot greater, that it's a lot smaller for the other sports. Check out the Corn Ferry Tour, mofo. Check out the grind. It's awesome. I am not trying to diminish that it's a difficult sport. It is not one of the most difficult sports.
We have to go, but the fact that you put F1 at number 2 when you have boxing in the UFC and football is absolutely criminal.
Criminal. I agree. We are out of here. J-Riff, thanks for being here.
210 beats per minute. Flying corners at 140 miles, 200 miles an hour.
They all have impressive necks. They really do, because they got to be able to stand up.
913 says, hey, Oprah, stop psychoanalyzing.
Yeah, Oprah.
That's somebody who needs to be psychoanalyzed.
We'll see y'all tomorrow. Great Wednesday show coming up. John Schaefer coming up next. He has more tickets to the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. Bye.